The farmer's favorite gardening tool and your forgotten sink sponge. A deep dive into the defensive statistics of Nicholas Castellanos and Ender Inciarte. I'm Freddie Fine.
And I'm Harvey Van Blorkum. We're two students at LREI who are obsessed with all things sports. Today, we're going to talk about some baseball. In the MLB, it's often hard to come by the most simple definition of defense. There's no way to tell what goes into defense by a casual eye test. Highlight reel defensive plays like robbing home runs or making behind the back flips to turn double plays can easily overshadow masterful defensive plays that combine the three main aspects of defense: reaction, burst, and routing. Today, we're going to take two players of often opposite ends of the defensive spectrum and figure out what makes one elite and the other, well, not so elite. So I guess it's time to compare their abilities and analyze how that has changed their career.
Now let's meet our two players, Ender Inciarte of the Atlanta Braves and Nicholas Castellanos of the Cincinnati Reds. For our analysis, we're using data from two premier MLB sites, the Fielding Bible and Baseball Savant. We believe these sites are the best at finding true defensive value. It is important to note, specifically with Baseball Savant, that their data and all of our takeaways from that data are based on stats from the StatCast era, which began in 2016.
Now it's time to meet Ender Inciarte, the 7-year veteran, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 2015 Fielding Bible Award winner, 2017 All-Star, and resident defensive wizard patrolling the Braves center field. Now, this is about as high praise as you can get as a defender. He's also been a career 280, 335, 385 hitter, which is very good for a man who's highly regarded as a defensive specialist.
Nicholas Castellanos has unfortunately spent much of his career playing for the Detroit Tigers. However, he has consistently been one of the more underrated players on the offensive side of the ball until recently, posting career 274, 324, 472 stat line, with 134 home runs. However, after an incredible 2019 campaign split between the Tigers and the Cubs, where he hit 289 with 27 homers.
I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run.
Himself a 4-year, $64 million contract with the Cincinnati Reds. While Castellanos has a lucrative contract, Inciarte is stuck at Atlanta, playing out a 5-year, $30 million contract. While this is still a lot of money, it is dwarfed by Castellanos' contract with the Reds.
Since the beginning of the StatCast era, an era which brings in advanced tracking methodologies and skips over the eye test, Ender Inciarte's true value has really begun to look a bit different. Since 2017, Inciarte leads the MLB in outs above average, a stat now regarded as one of the best measurements of defensive production, with 77 outs above average recorded. Outs above average is a metric that factors in the three main aspects of defense: jump, routing, and burst. And it takes the estimated success rate and the actual success rate to create a comprehensive number, calculating a player's ability to make a play moving in any given direction.
Nicholas Castellanos, on the other hand, has posted an abysmal negative 49 outs above average, ranking last at 779th amongst all defenders with at least 10 fielding opportunities since 2017. This accumulator has been playing 5 different positions throughout that time period.
Looking into Inciarte's success further, here's some data from the Fielding Bible, which created a highly regarded metric of a player's defensive ability called DRS, which means defensive runs saved. Defensive runs saved is a similar concept to outs above average. It just takes into account different calculations, including removing the shift. However, it does not have the extensive data that Baseball Savant is able to compile to create outs above average. Now, in the second column from the right, you can see Inciarte's total defensive runs saved at each position per season played. He's found the most success, mainly due to having the most playing time in center field. In 2018, he ranked second amongst all center fielders with a whopping 17 defensive runs saved. In 2015, he ranked second among all right fielders with a defensive run saved of 12, while only playing 77 of the 162 games in right field.
Outdone yourself. And no season has Nick Castellanos had a positive defensive run save, topping out at 0 in 2019 with the Cubs in left field while only playing 35.2 innings there. He has a whopping negative 38 DRS at third base, negative 1 in left field, and another negative 38 DRS in right field. His highest ranking among eligible outfielders was 21st, and the fact there were people worse than him in that season is concerning. In 2017, he played just 21 games and 173 innings in right field. That year, in right field alone, he had negative 8 DRS. If he had played the same amount of games that year as he did in 2018, he would have been on pace for about negative 56 defensive run saves in a single season. That same year, he achieved a negative 13 DRS playing third base in 129 games. so it seems clear that they should have kept him at third base. However, even with all that, Castellanos now primarily plays right field for the Reds. Since 2017, he's played 236 games in right field. He has also played none at third base.
In summary, Castellanos has played more innings, has overall higher batting metrics, and a larger contract, while Inciarte in less time has beat Castellanos in cumulative defensive statistics such as outs above average and defensive runs saved, and is playing on a much, much smaller contract. Now, while it's clear as day that Inciarte is the superior defender of the two, the questions in the industry are shifting to see how much relative value Inciarte's elite defensive production truly provides. With more accurate statistics, will we see a rise in contracts for these so-called defensive specialists? The conversation has shifted. It's no longer about how to extract accurate defensive data. It's now about how to balance that information with its offensive counterparts. As analytics have developed across the sport, players are receiving more fair contracts based on concrete evidence of their play. However, that defensive aspect has lagged behind. Can we even balance the offensive and defensive production of players? Or do we just find a ratio that makes sense in our head? While we do the latter now, it would be hard to imagine a world in which no one is trying to concretely define a whole value as opposed to just individual parts.
Teams have always opted for defensive specialists late in games. So why is it that players like Inciarte are so overlooked? Why can a player getting paid $15 million a year be benched at the most crucial point of a game? Maybe it's just that the offensive production is so much greater than the defensive. Maybe it's that there are a lot of subpar hitters who are excellent fielders. Or maybe, just maybe, it's a massive oversight in MLB, but certainly something to entertain.